Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Dorothy Evelyn Mitchell. I am 68 years old. For the next several hours, I am going to share with you the complete, honest, and deeply personal story of my life, my love, my sacrifice, my betrayal, my pain, and ultimately, my redemption. This is not a short story you can finish in 30 minutes. This is the full story. Every memory, every tear, every conversation, every court hearing, every sleepless night, and every moment of healing. If you are a mother, a daughter, a son, or anyone who has ever loved family with all your heart, only to be discarded, I hope my journey gives you strength. Let us begin at the very beginning. I was born on a cold January morning in 1957 in a small town called Elmira in upstate New York. My father worked 12-hour shifts at a furniture factory, and my mother taught third grade at the local elementary school. We lived in a modest 2-bedroom house with a big maple tree in the front yard. Money was always tight, but love was abundant. I met Robert Mitchell when I was 22 years old at a church picnic in the summer of 1979. He was 25, tall with kind hazel eyes and a gentle laugh that made me feel safe. We courted for 14 months and married on October 18, 1980, in a small ceremony with only 50 guests. I wore a simple ivory lace dress that my mother and I sewed together over 3 months. Our marriage was not perfect, but it was beautiful. We bought our first home, a crumbling Victorian built in 1893, in 1987. For the next 20 years, we restored it with our own hands. Weekends were spent sanding hardwood floors, stripping wallpaper, painting walls in soft pastel colors, and planting rose bushes, lilacs, and a small vegetable garden in the backyard. That house became the heart of our family. In 1989, after 9 years of marriage and years of heartbreaking infertility treatments, our miracle arrived. Michael Robert Mitchell was born on a rainy April morning. I still remember holding him for the first time, tears streaming down my face as Robert whispered, "He's perfect, Dorothy, just like you." I left my job as a librarian for 5 years to raise him. I read him stories every night, baked cookies with him, taught him how to ride a bicycle on the quiet street in front of our house, and stayed up late helping him with science projects. Robert worked hard as an accountant, and later opened his own small firm. We were never wealthy, but we created a home filled with laughter, Sunday roasts, Christmas traditions, and unconditional love. Then, in March 2017, everything changed. Robert was diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer. He fought bravely for 14 months. I was by his side every single day, holding his hand through chemotherapy, driving him to appointments, cooking soft meals when he could barely eat. On his last night, July 12, 2018, he held my hand tightly and made me promise, "Take care of Michael. Always be there for him. Promise me, Dorothy." I promised through my tears. I kept that promise with everything I had, until the day it was thrown back in my face. After Robert's passing, the big Victorian house became too painful. The silence in the rooms we had restored together was deafening.
I started thinking about downsizing. That's when Michael, then 28, introduced me to Amanda in the spring of 2021. Amanda was 25, strikingly beautiful with long dark hair and bright green eyes. She came from a difficult background. Father abandoned the family when she was 7. Mother struggled with alcohol. She told me tearfully during our first dinner, "I never had a real mother. You feel like the answer to my prayers, Dorothy." I hugged her and said, "You have one now, sweetheart." I believed her completely.
In early 2022, Michael and Amanda found their dream home, a spacious 4-bedroom colonial with a large backyard in a good school district. The price was $465,000. They had only $18,000 saved. Without hesitation, I made the decision that would change everything. I sold the Victorian house, the one filled with 43 years of memories with Robert, for $312,000 net after costs. I gave Michael and Amanda $87,000 as a down payment. I also covered $9,400 in closing costs, $14,000 for new appliances and furniture, and later funded extensive renovations, $24,000 for a modern kitchen, $19,000 for a new roof, $7,500 for landscaping, and many smaller gifts. Over the next 3 years, I transferred a total of $168,400 from my retirement savings and Robert's life insurance. I moved in with them in November 2022 to help out. I cooked nearly every meal, cleaned, did laundry, helped Amanda launch her online clothing boutique, which I funded with $12,000, paid for their vacations, car repairs, and even their European honeymoon in 2023. There were so many beautiful moments. Christmas 2023, we sat by the fireplace and Amanda hugged me tightly, whispering, "You're my real mom, Dorothy. I love you so much." Michael would say, "Mom, we're so lucky to have you." I felt needed. I felt loved. I felt like I had kept my promise to Robert. But slowly, the tone began to shift. By late 2023, Amanda started making small comments. She would roll her eyes when I suggested traditional family recipes. She called my taste in furniture old lady style. Michael began agreeing with her more often. I told myself it was normal for a young couple to want space. I tried to give them privacy. I started eating dinner in my room some nights. Yet every time I offered to move out, they would say, "No, Mom, we want you here," especially when another bill needed paying. Friday, June 14th, 2024, the day before their wedding. I had spent the entire week helping. I arranged all the flowers, confirmed vendors, and paid the final $28,000 for the country club reception out of my remaining savings. That afternoon, Amanda tried on her wedding dress for the final fitting. She looked breathtaking. I smiled and said, "Everything is going to be so perfect tomorrow, sweetheart." She turned to me with ice in her eyes and said the words that still echo in my mind. "Dorothy, we need to talk. The greatest gift you could give us for our wedding is if you disappeared from our family. Don't come tomorrow. Your presence makes everything tense and awkward. Michael and I want to start our marriage fresh, without all the old baggage and drama." I stood there holding a stack of folded napkins, feeling as if the floor had disappeared beneath me. My heart pounded so hard I thought I might faint. Michael, who had been silent, finally spoke.
Mom, Amanda is right. This weekend is about us. You've been a bit much lately with all the suggestions. We think it's best if you sit this one out. I asked, voice shaking. Where am I supposed to go? Amanda shrugged coldly. A hotel? Your sister's? Honestly, Dorothy, I don't care. Just be gone by tomorrow morning. We're turning your room into a home office while we're on our honeymoon anyway. I didn't scream, I didn't cry in front of them. I simply nodded, walked upstairs, packed 2 large suitcases with my clothes, Robert's old letters, family photos, and a few precious keepsakes. As I carried them down, neither of them helped. I loaded the car in silence. Before driving away, I looked back at the house my money had bought and restored. I whispered to myself, I kept my promise, Robert, but now I have to keep a promise to myself. That night, I checked into a small motel on the edge of town and cried until there were no tears left.
That same night, I made 2 phone calls that changed the trajectory of everything. First, to my longtime lawyer, Margaret Chen. She reviewed the documents and revealed that because the large sums were never properly documented as irrevocable gifts, and I had continued contributing to mortgage payments, I retained significant legal ownership rights, approximately 35% equity in the house. Second, to the country club. The reception contract was still in my name. I canceled it and paid the cancellation fee myself. The next day, while Michael and Amanda prepared for their wedding, they received the call that the reception venue was canceled. No food, no hall, no party. Their perfect day collapsed. What followed were 6 months of hell. Angry calls, family members turning against me, gaslighting texts, false accusations that I was mentally unstable, and multiple court hearings. I will not sugarcoat any of it. The pain was immense, but so was my resolve. In the end, the court ruled in my favor. The house was sold. I recovered my $168,400 plus interest and legal fees. Michael and Amanda were left with almost nothing. Michael eventually reached out with a tearful apology. Amanda sent a long letter months later admitting her mistakes. I forgave them both, but I chose peace over closeness. Today, I live in a cozy cottage by Lake Ontario. I garden, read, travel when I want, and have found gentle companionship with a kind man named Frank. I finally understand that a mother's love should never be a bottomless well that others drain without appreciation. To every mother listening right now, your worth is not measured by how much you give or how useful you make yourself. Sometimes the most powerful act of love you can perform is to quietly disappear from those who never truly valued you. I lost a son and a daughter-in-law, but I found myself, my dignity, and a new chapter of peace. Thank you for staying with me through this entire long story. If it touched your heart, please share it with someone who needs to hear it. You are stronger than you know. You are enough. God bless you.